we are going to discuss the Democratic Socialists of America. Now, this group is an interesting one. They've got several members of Congress, they got several people all throughout the states, and I think people need to know about them. They're one of the largest free Palestine movements in this country. They want to be the kind of people that support Palestine. And they've even come out and said that they supported the October 7th attacks. Now, people need to hear about this. This is one of the groups that are active in Colorado. They're active all across the nation. When you take a listen to who is a member of this organization and what their history is, you're going to wonder why we tolerate this group. This is one of those socialist worker party types that we've seen what they've done in history. So, we're going to discuss a few of the bits of their anti-Israel takes, and we're going to discuss who is currently a member of that. We're also going to discuss the leadership of this organization. So stick with me. It's going to be a little bit long of a video, but let me tell you something. It's going to be very enlightening to all you folks out there. So here we go. Howdy, y'all. This is Paul, the Redneck Thinker. What we have here is a channel to communicate. I want you folks to be thinking by the time you leave my videos. Why? Because I'm tired of people talking via what other people tell them to think. So, watch my video and enjoy the chance to think for yourself.
I think we should abolish capitalism, but
How do we do that?
It won't happen all at once.
But gradually, I won't be able to buy anything. I was at McCormick Place in Chicago for a convention of the Democratic Socialists of America.
I wouldn't call us in a pre-revolutionary situation. We're in a pre-revolutionary situation.
I was there with an open mind. After all, I've always thought of the left as fighting the good fight.
You know that democratic promise that we have supposedly in this country of a government formed by the people? I don't see it.
Became disillusioned with how we treat the working poor in the United States and elsewhere, right?
Together we can be a force against our shared enemies: fascism, imperialism, racism, and capitalism. Basically all the isms.
My question for these people was about that last ism, capitalism. Now, I'm no economist, but I can Google. Basically, capitalism is what you have when businesses are privately owned and operate for profit. You may notice that capitalism describes nearly any business you can think of, from superstores to your local hair salon. Does all of that really have to go?
You're afraid that there's not going to be like a consumer
people like
economy
to have
or whatever.
Stuff, you know, like
but there's no reason to think there won't be stuff. It's very strange.
Do you feel like we need to abolish capitalism?
In time, yes.
How do we do that, and what comes after?
I'd like to see it become like a Star Trek utopia. That's just me.
Does anyone say, hey, can we maybe not be oh, we need to get rid of all of capitalism everywhere? Has anyone expressed that?
I think that would be a shortcut to achieve wider consciousness.
Where do I get a sandwich in your socialist utopia?
At the corner store. It's a very bizarre question.
Sadly, I was kicked out before I could talk to anyone less evasive.
Give me your credentials. Thank you. Ma'am, can I have your credentials, please?
I don't understand.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's just how it's going to be. So.
Well, that's awfully authoritarian. I mean, what?
No, it's just how it is.
We're an abolitionist organization. We don't believe in calling police, but the hotel has its own kind of procedures for how they handle that.
We left before the abolitionists could remove us by force. But then I noticed another event taking place. And these people seemed fun, positive, not hostile. I'm at the Black Women's Expo. I had stumbled upon a convention for black female entrepreneurs.
We have mango honey tea, we have pineapple honey tea, and we have peach honey tea.
Now this was more like it.
I love that reaction.
That is a delicious candle. I wish I could eat it. Are these all candles?
These are all candles.
Oh my God! Can I smell this one?
Sure.
Ooh, I like that. It's good and fruity. Okay.
I came here to cover socialism, but now I was luxuriating in the sights and smells of sweet, sweet commerce.
I have 15 businesses. So I have a therapy business, a cleaning business, drop shipping, e-commerce.
These were some of the most rabid capitalists I'd ever met.
And so I make like tumblers, I make the glass cups, which is here.
This is Bitch Be Gone. It kills 99% of thoughts and bitches. And it eliminates hoes.
I'm a author of 17 books.
17 autobiographies. I wish I could be both this productive and this self-involved. I have the second part down.
I couldn't resist talking politics.
Do you think we should get rid of capitalism?
No, it's a part of our everyday life.
In my honest opinion, it's necessary. The world doesn't work without it. It just doesn't.
Capitalism is a thing. It's never going anywhere.
It doesn't really benefit certain people, and then it does others. It can benefit you if you know how to actually make it work for you. That's just the way the world works. You have to live with what you got.
Makes us strong.
So let's take a look at a group that started out, that was founded by a Zionist. No joke. This group was actually founded by a guy who was pro-Israel, got turned into a Free Palestine group. Now, let's get into some of their stances. They got involved with boycott, divestment, and sanctions. It was a movement among young left-wing activists, meaning that many of the DSA's new members believed that support of the BDSM movement was a badge of progressive authenticity. Anti-Israel activism soon became a core component of DSA's ideology. In 2017, DSA voted to formally support the BDSM movement, and 2 years later it established an official BDS and Palestine Solidarity Working Group. According to the American Jewish Committee, the phrase "from the river to the sea" is widely understood as a rejection of Israel's right to exist by implying that the entire land of Israel should be freed from Jews and considered anti-Semitic. And this is what they started demanding at the Democrat Socialists of America. It specifically demanded a free Palestine from the river to the sea. Statements released by the BDS and Palestine Solidarity Working Group on the DSA's behalf have accused Israel of engaging in premeditated ethnic cleansing ever since the country's establishment in 1948. Historically not true at all. The working group is declared Zionism is racism and Israel is an apartheid state. Now remember, this group started out as a pro-Zionist group, and alleged that Israel is pursuing Jewish supremacy through disposition and elimination of the indigenous Palestinians. They aren't, but okay. And it said that the fascist mob of the true face of Zionism and representatives of Israeli objectives. Controversial Palestinian-American activist Linda Sarsour is a DSA member and featured speaker at the group's 2019 National Convention. The Iron Dome. Okay, here's an interesting one. Jamal Bowman, the feller that pulled the fire alarm at the Congress. In late 2021, U.S. Representative Jamal Bowman, who was then a member of the DSA, was nearly expelled from the organization after voting to fund the Israel's Iron Dome missile defense system, having traveled to the country alongside a left-of-center pro-Israel advocacy group, J Street, and having met with Israel's then Prime Minister Naftali Bennett. Though the DSA's National Political Committee ultimately decided not to expel him, it said there was no excuse for Representative Bowman's actions to help to legitimize an apartheid state. Many DSA members were upset with the decision not to expel Representative Bowman. Now, mind you, he's out of Congress and no longer supported. And after persistent agitation, the National Committee voted to dissolve BDS and Palestine Solidarity Working Group in March 2022. Though the decision was soon reversed. I have to admit that would make the group far more interesting. Working group was later absorbed into DSA's International Committee at Group's 2023's National Convention, though the implementing resolution was amended to include language labeling Israel a racist apartheid state. Okay, response to the 2023 Hamas terrorist attacks. This is the October 7th stuff. Um, the same day that October 7th, while Hamas militants were still operating within Israel, the DSA released a statement saying it was steadfast in expressing our solidarity with Palestine, and that the terrorist attacks were a direct result of Israel's apartheid regime. Another statement released by the DSA's International Committee read, "Long live the resistance," and urged all DSA members to attend Palestinian solidarity demonstrations. DSA's New York City chapter promoted an All Out for Palestine rally that was held in Times Square on October 8th with an accompanying statement that it was in solidarity with the Palestinian people and the right to resist 75 years of occupation and apartheid. At the rally, protesters reportedly burned an Israeli flag and chanted pro-Palestinian slogans, and at least one protester held up a picture of a swastika. The DSA was heavily criticized for its response to terrorist attacks. U.S. Representative Sri Thanadar, who used to be a member, renounced his membership, saying that he could no longer associate with an organization unwilling to call out terrorism in all forms. U.S. Representative Richie Torres of New York wrote that the DSA's New York City chapter had revealed itself that it truly is an anti-Semitic stain on the soul of America's largest city. He later elaborated that the DSA, despite the name, was not democratic. It's despicable, detestable, disgraceful, and disgrace. The same can be said of anyone who enables them. The New York City State Democratic Party released a statement strongly condemning the DSA's New York City chapter for having supported a rally that sought to justify the wholly unjustified acts of wanton violence, terrorism, kidnapping, and murder that was perpetrated. Several DSA members resigned from the organization. Comedians Silver Silverman wrote to DSA, which I was a proud lifetime member, has lost me forever. Maurice Iserman, the founding member of the organization, who has briefly been a member of the Students for a Democratic Society in the late 60s, resigned over it 1 week after the terrorist attack. The DSA announced a No Money for Massacres campaign, which claimed that Israel was using language genocide against Palestinians in Gaza and accused Biden administration of actively supporting ethnic cleansing of Palestinians. The campaign demanded immediate ceasefire in Gaza and an end to the United States military aid to Israel. Official messaging from the DSA called Israel's military response against Hamas a historic atrocity. It isn't. The accused Israeli government of exploiting the terrorist attacks as a reason to annihilate Gaza. They released a Palestine Solidarity National Toolkit. They also, now, the U.S. House of Representatives voted to formally censor DSA member Representative Rashida Tlaib in November 2023 after her comments about Israel, and the DSA called it a shameful bipartisan attack and praised Representative Tlaib for expressing truth about Israel's ongoing genocide. They also support the Houthis. On January 13th, 2024, DSA released a statement condemning the retaliatory strikes against the Houthis, referring to the rebel militant group as Yemeni forces and to the missile and drone sites targeted as civilian infrastructure. DSA falsely claimed that the Houthis had only blocked ships associated with Israel as part of their humanitarian blockade of Israel's genocide of Gaza. It asserted that the socialist internationalism obligates us to act in solidarity with the Palestinian and Yemeni people who have bravely resisted imperial aggression by the U.S. and its partners for decades. Okay, so that's a lot of information about their Free Palestine stances. Now, let's get into who's actually members of this organization. Now, right now, there are only 3 current members of Congress that are actual active members. Greg Cesar, he's from Texas. He actually was preceded by Pramila Jayapal. Assumed office January 3rd, 2025, even though they didn't endorse him. He's from Texas's 35th district. He was also on the Austin City Council. Go figure. This dude is an interesting fella. But he's a member of the Equality Caucus, Free Thought Caucus, Hispanic Caucus, and Progressive Caucus. He's on the House Oversight and Government Reform Committee and Agriculture Committee. So there's one, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Go figure. She's an endorsement. She's been endorsed. Started in 2019. Rashida Tlaib. Go figure. Current member of Congress and of DSA, and a member in the national endorsee. Now, AOC was only a local endorsee. Now, former members also that are still current in Congress. Summer Lee used to be a member. They never endorsed her. Sri Thanadar he was expelled. Danny K. Davis of Illinois, former member, former endorsee. Jerry Nadler, former member, former endorsee. You saw what just happened with him. So those are the members of Congress that are currently active. I've got a bunch of other folks that I'm about to tell you about. Now, we're going to go with some state officials. I'm going to focus on Colorado because Colorado is where the major attack is. Well, actually, no. Let's do this. Okay, current members. Illinois has got Rachel Ventura, Robert Peters of their Senate. Minnesota has got, now these are Senate, Zainab Mohammed, Jim McEwen, Omar Feta. Now, mind you, he was caught up in that whole Feed Our Future scandal I told you about a few days ago. And let's see here. New York has got Kristen Gonzalez as a member of the Senate. And Julia Salazar. Delaware has Kyra Hoffner. Oh, New York's also got Jabari Brisport. Sorry, I missed him. Pennsylvania has got Nicole Sival. Colorado, or let's go Nebraska. Nebraska's got Megan Hunt. That's a unicameral system. So only one house in their legislature. Julia Gonzalez of Colorado is a member of their Senate. And Sam Bell of Rhode Island. And lower house, California has got Alex Lee, State Assembly. Let me see if you can California. There's a long list. I ain't going to go into all these folks. Tennessee has got Tory Harris and Afton Ben of the House of Representatives in Tennessee. That's kind of got it. Let's just put it this way. When you go through here, Georgia's got Gabriel Sanchez. Colorado's got Andrew Bosnecker, Javier Mabry, Lorena Garcia, Yara Zokai. Let's just say for lower houses it's got a lot. I'm not even going to go into a lot. That's how bad it is. Other state level officials, Sally Lieber, Board of Equalization. What in the world? In California, public agency charged with tax administration and fee collection in the state of California. And the authorities of the board attempt to ensure that counties fairly assess property taxes, collect excise taxes. Okay. Louisiana on the Public Service Commission has Devontae Lewis. Mayors and county executives. Boulder, Colorado has Nicole Spear. California has Burbank Mayor Nikki Perez. And Richmond Mayor Eduardo Martinez. New York has Brian Nowak of Cheektowaga, and I'm probably mispronouncing some of this. North Carolina's got Danny Knoll of Carborough. Oh, also California Mayor of Cudahy is Elizabeth Alcantar. Burlington Mayor of Vermont, Emma Mulvaney Stanek. Now, I did an article, or I did a video not long ago about how Burlington specifically, has turned into this massive homeless encampment. Larry Agron of Irvine, California. Eduardo Martinez, Richmond, California. I think I already covered him. Khalid Kamal of South Fulton in Georgia. That's a very urban area. And Mark Elric, Montgomery County, Maryland. And the city council members, I ain't even going to go into Portland, Philadelphia, Oakland, California, New York City, Minneapolis. That list is, I'm going to put this down in your box, or I'm going to put this down for you guys to look at. Let's just say local and state. If you want to see some craziness, this is what you do right there. Okay, let's look at. I'm going to just only focus. Well, I'm not going to focus on just him, but there's a couple of folks that you not need to hear about that is leadership within the DSA. Ashik Siddiq is a research analyst, National Priorities Project Institute for Policy Studies, member of Metro DC DSA, and serves on the DSA's Eco-Socialist Working Group Steering Committee and Green New Deal Campaign Committee. He's also part of the National, he's a steering committee member of the National Political Committee members. He was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York City, in a Bangladeshi immigrant family. He was politicized as a Muslim teenager after 9/11. He also worked with Occupy Wall Street. You know, that group that women were in the encampments were getting assaulted in an intimate manner that was covered up by the Democrat Party and the media. While working at a veterans hospital in the Bronx with combat veterans of Iraq and Afghanistan with PTSD, he got involved in climate organizing and joined the DSA in early 2017 as he came to understand how nonprofit-led activism has been unable to meet the scale of ecological crisis and challenging its root cause, capitalism. That our best hope for collective survival is a mass socialist organization that is deeply intertwined with the resurgent labor movement in the U.S. So that's the first dude that I want to talk to you about, or first person. Okay, here's one by the name of Megan Romer. After years of management and promotion work in the nonprofit arts field, I moved into freelance writing and editing and then pivoted into strategic communications, primarily in the political campaigns and progressive nonprofit space, though I've worked with corporate and arts clients. After deaths of her son's brilliant and talented paternal grandparents, eminent classical musicians, stepped in and helped to ensure that their publications would remain in print. Now, that's a good idea. I like that. A convenient convergence of multiple skills picked up along the way. And then the other things. After years of organizing on a volunteer basis with the DSA, she decided to run for National Political Committee, and from there ran and won the National Co-Chair position. She wants to have a world to build and beyond honored to be trusted comradeship. Okay. Now, she's part of a group for Fight Fascism, Build Socialism with Mass Call. Did a aging and socialist building organization across phases of life. Signed a resolution for a political, prolific, and democratic DSA editorial board. So basically, she's just your normal leading member of this organization. Now, Amy Wilhelm is a trans Seattle-based Marxist with a base building and tenant organizing background. Served as the Seattle DSA's co-chair, one of the largest chapters in the country. signed an open letter from RWU to the president in 2022, signatory to Mugg's and RR's joint resolution for the 2023 DSA National Convention on the votes of DSA Congress members to fund Israeli military and ban railway worker strikes. He part of the Marxist Unity Group. Simon Rose, basically, yeah, just another Marxist that's getting a lot of notoriety there. Eric Hove is an organizer based in Louisville, Kentucky. Originally from Madison, Wisconsin, she lived in France for 5 years before moving to Louisville in 2014. She served as co-chair of Louisville DSA, where she had been a member since joining DSA in 2020. In the chapter care, has also previously served as co-chair of the chapter labor committee, where she led key strike support campaigns, in addition to the chapter campaign for the Green New Deal for public schools. Kerr also served as communications director for Tyler Lamont's campaign for Louisville Metro Council, and is currently helping lead the chapter's Green New Deal campaign to expand public transit in the city. In all honesty, I wouldn't disagree. Louisville does kind of need that. Kara also fights in Louisville for police abolition, where she is a leader member of a small grassroots organization dedicated to reducing police power by fighting against fraternal order police via the collective bargaining agreement with the city. Group recently settled a lawsuit with LMPD over the failure to abide by the Open Records Act, which she said precedent for transparency in the city. Okay, so there's another one right there. Basically, I'm done covering the leadership. I mean, you're talking about these folks are doing all kinds of things, such as trying to get rid of the police. Now, I think that there's some reforms that need to be done for the police, so don't think that I'm being someone that is going against some of the videos that I put on here, but I think that there's a different way of doing things than what these folks want to do. Now, I think we need to know who these folks are. All right, seriously. We need to know who these folks are because they're one of the biggest voices in this Free Palestine movement that's striking the country. You know, you continuously see these folks doing violent acts in the not the folks that I've covered here, but these folks like the Boulder, Colorado, Mohammed Sabri Solomon, Elias Rodriguez from Chicago that took out those 2 Israeli embassy staffers, the attack on Josh Shapiro's governor's mansion there in Pennsylvania, the attack in Chicago of that Jewish person from that so-called Mauritanian. Basically, we need to know who the DSA is, and I couldn't even go into this. This is a long video already, and I'm well aware not a lot of people are going to want to watch it just for that simple fact. Now, okay, here's a simple fact. Do I think that these folks have the right to have a voice in this country? Yes, I do. But do I want to see people not being aware of who is supporting Free Palestine, the attacks on Israel, and Jews around the world? No, I don't think that they should be kept in the shadows. And that is what this whole purpose of this thing is. Now, if you want to do your own research, hey, go for it. It needs to be done. But I thought that I would cover this with you guys and let you see what's going on in the shadows, because that's what this group is. How many people actually know that Democratic Socialists of America exist? I am somebody who thinks that we should know the face of those supporting these acts. Don't tell me they're not supporting it, because they ain't saying nothing against it. And when October 7th happened, they came out in full support of it. So, this has been Paul, the Redneck Thinker. Y'all have a good day now. Bye. So, folks, that's the story that I wanted to bring you on this video. And I just wanted to say thank you again for coming by. Hit like, subscribe, comment, all that fun stuff if you don't mind. Help me out. So, y'all have a good day now. Bye.